What's cracking, everyone? Welcome on into another episode of Golf on Tap. Today, we'll be getting into our final bets for the 2024 Valero Texas Open, the week before the Masters. And it's an excellent field we got this week, probably the best that has been since it got moved to the week before the Masters. We got 9 of the top 20 in the official world golf ranking. Rory McIlroy leads that charge, but a lot of good names behind him as well on the betting board. We'll be getting into all that good stuff. But first, make sure to go and hit that like button if you're joining us right now. Comment down below as to who you're tailing this week at TPC San Antonio, where I'm very fortunate to be boots on the ground. I'm very excited for things to get underway tomorrow morning. And also, we're now on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. So wherever you may be listening to your podcast, you can check us out there for 100% free. And that way, if you're not able to catch us live, you're still able to keep up with all things golf, as Ross and I do a show weekly on Monday. Joey and I try to get out these bets shows as frequently as we can. We're back here for this one, and we'll certainly be back next week for the Masters at Augusta National. But first, Joey, my friend, I know you're battling through a little bit of an illness right now. I really appreciate you fighting through it and jumping on the show with me here today, my friend. Go Cubbies. First off, congratulations that you've made it back to baseball season. Glad that your bread and butter is officially back, baby. But we're here to talk golf. How you doing with me this afternoon, my friend?
I'm good, brother. Look, hey, I was not missing this one when you're literally there, boots on the ground. Like, I'm powering through. I thought I was just lost. Like, my voice was just shot from all the fun on opening day, Wrigley opening day on Monday, and we were out there. But you know how things happen. Like, you're out there after the game and out at the bars, and you're close quarters, and people are spitting in your face talking, and you're doing the same thing, and you're drinking, and it's a good time out there at Wrigleyville. But you know, it's one of those things where I'm not really that surprised that I am sick, but a little bit surprised because I haven't been sick very much in the last 5 years. So it's like, all right, I was about due, but man, I am super stoked to be here tonight to talk some bets and get a little feel for the course and what's going on down there and what you're seeing since you're there. And super excited for next week too, man. Like, leading up to the Masters, we were 100% not missing next week. No question about it. Yeah, Jack, but keep it short and sweet. Doing great, man. Let's get it.
Absolutely. And you powering through is the reason why you're my boy and back on the show with me week in and week out. I think we got a good combo and flow going here. And finally, Joey, I was able to snap my dry spell last week. Another reason why we had to jump back on the show here is Steven Jagerbombs cashes for me, baby, 55-1. Much needed after the way the start to this season has been going. He slays the Scotty Scheffler Dragon. It was a very nervy Sunday, my man. Lots of guys in contention down the stretch. We were talking a little bit before recording about Thomas Dietrich being an absolute dead fish down the stretch, missing that eagle putt on 16, missing the 6 or 7 footer on 17. But we also had Alejandro Tosti was right there. Taylor Moore was someone who I had money on as well. Tony Finau literally missed a 2.5 footer on 16 that kept him out of the playoff. And then, of course, Scotty Scheffler misses the 5.5 footer on 18. And I was willing that ball out of the hole, Joey. I'm not afraid to say it, that I was full on watching that thing saying, miss it, doing everything in my power because, listen, it's an outright bet. You're wanting to do everything in your power when there's realistically nothing you can do in your power. I'm well aware of that also, to make that puppy cash. And also when it's Scotty Scheffler, who had been stealing my money over the last couple of weeks at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and at the Players Championship, it was like, please, dude, just go the fuck away for 5 minutes. Like, let me have my moment. You've had yours. You're probably going to have many more. You're probably going to go and win the Masters next week because you're on an absolute heater. You're the world number one for a reason, and it's not even close right now. But Steven Jaeger, somehow, some way,
the Dragon Slayer,
to win that thing. The Dragon Slayer. That might not have to be the new nickname for Steven Jaeger. Is the Dragon Slayer, baby?
Pulled out two dragons, baby. Man.
Oh yeah, Finau, and Chef Daddy. It felt great.
And your awesome outright streak of not getting outright. Like, we should have kicked off the show that way because you have been close on a lot of this, but it has been a rough go for both of us. So that's why I'm just as hyped that you got this outright. First of all, because Scheffler's playing as well as he's playing, but Also, because we're not betting Scotty where he's at. We just can't.
Just can't do it. Maybe maybe it was a 3 dragon slay there for old Steven Yeager. I would love someone to make me like a meme of like the 3 Targaryen dragons.
Yeah, there you go.
Steven Yeager is the leader of the dead. Someone out there, if you're listening to me and have that power, go and make it happen.
We got to talk to somebody that's really good with the memes. Come on, chime in here.
Someone hop in the comment section and help us out. Yeah, for real. But yeah, good time to be getting back in the W column though, man. Would love to keep this team going into the Masters and hopefully, rattle off another one here this week. And I mean, knock on wood here, I don't want to jinx myself, but what I've kind of noticed for whatever reason about myself is this is just kind of how golf betting kind of goes for me. I go on cold streaks and then I go on hot streaks. It's tended to happen to me in the FedEx Cup playoffs the last couple of years for whatever reason, or towards the end of seasons. But yeah, would absolutely love to do it to cash at the Masters for the first time since Dustin Johnson during that COVID year. But before we get there, Joey, I think we should talk for a moment about the news regarding Justin Thomas here today, because
interesting.
Came out that he has parted ways with Jim Bones Mackay, who's been on his bag since 2021. And for Justin, it's been weird for the last year, right? Like obviously he went through all of those struggles last season and missed out on the FedEx Cup playoffs. Was shooting 80s in the opens or in the majors, at the US Open and at the British Open. It was as bad as it's really ever been for Justin Thomas. Was able though to end that season with a little bit of momentum into the fall this year, played good at the Ryder Cup and started off this year looking sharp, had some top 10s and some top 20s early on, but as of late has kind of reverted back to the JT that we saw last year a little bit, in which, he missed the cut when I bet on him at the Players Championship. That's the first time he's done that in his career. And then after making the cut at Valspar and being in contention, looked absolutely lost on the greens throughout the course of the weekend. And on Saturday, the longest putt he made was, I think, 3.5 feet. Like, it was the worst putting round he's ever had in his career. So definitely things have not been trending in the right direction recently. And that steam hasn't seemed to carry over that Justin Thomas was able to build earlier on in the year. And my initial reaction to it, Joey, was, I don't want to say I'm like absolutely stunned. I'm shocked for sure, but I see why he did it because of just how the way things have been going. But the week before the Masters is the weirdest part to me about it. That's the one weird one where it's like you have a veteran caddy who knows how to win around Augusta. Like, why not until after? That was the weird part to me was, literally 7 days before the Masters begins. Now he's getting a new caddy. It just seems like not the time to be doing that, right, Joey?
I 100% agree. I mean, looking at it, it's the worst timing, I think. But, and I guess my next question: did he announce who his caddy would be? Like, did he?
Yeah, it's gonna be Matt Minister, who previously was on the bag for Patrick Cantlay before Joey LaCava, I believe, and has bounced around with a lot of tour guys as well. Nick Price back in the days, a veteran caddy as well. So that seems like a good ad for Justin Thomas. But like I said, just really weird timing on the whole thing.
Well, yeah, because we, looking at this earlier this season, we thought he was really turning a corner with the start of the new season. And I mean, I know it's been rough here recently, but I didn't think it was anything that he wouldn't overcome here leading into some of these majors. I mean, maybe the Masters he's not quite ready for, and I understand that. And maybe that's why he's making the move now, because he doesn't feel like his game is where it needs to be to truly win the Masters. And that's totally understandable. But it is a very weird timing sort of situation when you do have that experience and somebody that you're riding with every single week. I mean, I don't know. That's about all I can say about it. Hopefully it works out for him. I think it will probably long term, but just very strange timing.
Yeah, definitely very strange timing. And curious what's going to be next for Bones, if he's going to be more in the broadcast booth, if he's going to lean towards that, or if he's still want to go and loop out there for someone else. Going to be very interesting to see what ends up happening with Bones and how this new duo of Justin Thomas and his new caddy kind of fare, especially week one together at Augusta, since they're not in the field here this week in San Antonio. But transitioning now to this week in San Antonio, like I said, I'm boots on the ground. I was here today. It has been a very long first day. I walked as much as I could to kind of get a handle on the course. As I told you, Joey, before jumping on here, it was a little bit of a battle getting situated on a golf
How are
course.
those Cavs doing?
Yeah, they're going to, they're not terrible right now. Funny enough, I mean, I've done this a couple of times now, and I know the sicko that I am. Like, I'm going to want to just be walking up and down the golf course. And if I have a guy in contention on the weekend, God forbid, I'm not going to miss a single shot of that. So it's going to be lots of mileage on the tires this week, Joey, for me and down here in Texas. But I brought my leg massage roller with me. I put it on the check bag in the airplane, so I'll be able to roll those puppies out at the end of the day. But the first thing that I noticed, and literally before I even got situated, the first thing I noticed is just how spacious this place is. Like, there's a lot to it, and it's not like a up and down layout that like takes you back to the clubhouse. Like, the ninth hole is not by the for media areas, and like the main entrances are a little bit to get to that first hole. But especially the front nine, man, is just an absolute beast. It's a monster. And this place, it's over 7,400 yards, so we know it's going to be a long course. But in particular, that first 9 holes in which I followed Rory McIlroy around today, dude, there's like no easy shots in those first 9 holes. Like, right off the rip, the first hole, one of the hardest on the course, 481-yard par 4. The par 5 that's up next, par 5, good scoring out, 602 yards. Lots of par 5s, over 425, over 450, some over 475. And then to even finish is a real tough stretch too on the front 9. 7 is a 210-yard par 3. 8's another par 5 that's over 600. And then 9's a par 4 that's over 470 yards. Things get a little bit easier from what I've been able to digest on the back 9, but still, all in all, this course is a beast. And I can see why when the wind gets gusting, winning scores come, at 12, 13, 14 under, somewhere around there, because it's just hard to make birdies around here. There's a lot of like oddly placed trees. Like, it's not like completely tree lined. There's openings, but I was telling you a little bit, it's just a visually daunting a little bit and demanding course from off of the tee. You got to hit driver a lot because of the length, and there's just a lot of weird angles and weird type of shots that you have to hit. The rough isn't really like too penal. It's only 2.25-inch ryegrass rough. But it just leaves you out of place, leaves you a little situated. And the greens have runoff areas, and they're really tiered. So, like, if you're hitting a long iron into the greens, it's going to be really hard to stop them and get them close. And if you're missing the green short, it's not just going to stop right there most of the time. It's going to fall into a runoff area. Like, there's a little bit of funnels a little bit around these greens. So it's going to be tricky. And one thing I also read today, Joey, is that it might be a little bit tougher around the greens this year from what I've heard based on the mowing patterns. There's a lot of like into the grain tight lies. So I don't know if this is necessarily going to be the case, but it could be a little bit tougher around the greens here this year than it has been in years past. But I'm really interested to see how it's going to play, because we're going to get good weather here in San Antonio all throughout the weekend. The winds don't look like they're ever going to get up over 15, 20 miles an hour consistently. You might get some gusts here or there, but it doesn't look like the wind's going to be too crazy. But it's really tough out there, man, and really long, like we outlined. So I'm going to lean towards good ball strikers. I think driving it long is a privilege here, but you also have to still put yourself in good spots. Like, if you I think missing the fairway big here, you're putting yourself in potential to make double and triple bogey real quick. Like, guys who don't miss like very wayward, like a Corey Connor, someone who, hits it into the fairway a lot. And when he does miss, they aren't big misses. He's really reliable with his irons from tee to green. And he's just happened to kind of putt well here and stay steady with the around the green stuff. So I'm going to lean towards guys who strike the ball, have good ball striking upside, and also just guys who don't make a lot of bogeys. I think just putting yourself backwards, having yourself going backwards is really what's going to do you a disservice this week. Like, eliminating as many bogeys off the card when I just don't think there's going to be that many scoring opportunities out there until like the final 6 or 7 holes. I think it's going to be really big for guys to just make those pars consistently. So those are kind of the guys that I'm thinking this week. And that's kind of what I've gathered so far about TPC San Antonio, Joey.
I love it, man. There's a lot there. It's interesting that the around the green could play a bigger factor this week. I really wasn't looking at that much this week, but hey, I mean, you're there. You can kind of see how it's reacting to some of these guys now leading up to this tournament. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to do a quick little look here too and see. I mean, I did look at some of the numbers of guys, past 24 rounds, stuff like that, but I really tried to. Well, I guess here a question that I had too. You're closer, so you have the a pretty good weather report, I'm assuming, or you can look at it easier than I can where I'm at. It seemed like Friday afternoon was like the really potentially like windy day, like 25 mile per hour, like in the late afternoon or afternoon. Is that, and then the rest of the tournament seemed like it'd be pretty decent. Does that seem to be the case, or what are you seeing, weather report wise, or like how was it today, I guess?
Today it was really benign. There was not a lot of wind out there. And that's what's like that's what I'm really interested to see, because I do think when the wind is down, it's going to allow this place to play easier, but will it is like the question. And we
Hmm.
have seen Corey Connors when he won here the first time, he reached 20 under. So we have seen that before. I'm just really curious, like which way it's going to play. I can kind of see it going both ways, not to be that guy who's like picking both sides here on the show. And when I want to be like giving advice, but that's like the gamble within like choosing whether or not is going to play a factor into your picks and all that good stuff. Like if the wind is down, it could play easier, but I've also heard like the around the green could play tougher. And just from what I've seen, it looks like it could be a beast. I'm checking Wind Finder right now here in San Antonio. I actually didn't see those 20-mile-an-hour winds. My internet's been a little bit
Okay.
slow, so hopefully this will load, but I'll be able to get a gander on that real quick here. Yeah, actually just
Good
loaded.
though. That's if you're not seeing 25 mile per hour wind, that's a great thing. Um,
Why is this in knots?
what's that?
For some reason it's in knots.
In
Oh,
knots?
there we go. I'm not even kidding. My app just like, or windfinder.com just shifted. It was giving me the wind speed in knots, bro. And I'm like, how am I supposed to depict that? I don't know how
Yeah.
many. What's 11 knots? Is that a lot of wind? Is that little wind?
It's notches, Turn the notches down. That's what we're trying
So
to tell
so yeah,
them.
it looks
But
like Friday afternoon could get up into max. It says is 21 on Friday from like
okay.
1 to 4. So, and Saturday, I guess max from 1 to 4 is. Oh, Saturday actually does look like it could be a little bit gusty now that I'm looking at it. This is why you got to kind of look at things from weekend to Friday
It
or
shifts
Sunday.
so much.
Sunday looks like there's going to be nothing. Saturday, so Friday afternoon and Saturday looks like it could be gusty. So, I mean,
Okay.
maybe you could
But
go with a split of the afternoon early guys if you wanted to do that. That's just how it's looking right now.
that's what I was kind of thinking, honestly, when I saw that. I was thinking, afternoon Thursday, early Friday, would kind of how I'd be targeting that. But to your point, though, total driving to me was something I'm really looking at. Total driving off
Yeah.
the tee, of course, always approach, but tee to green too. Big. Who's done what here? And I actually kind of specifically targeted some golfers here that have putted well here. Maybe some surprising guys who, or at least one of them, I think is pretty surprising, even though he's had a lot of success here. So maybe not as surprising, but recent form not so good. So, but we'll get into it, man.
Yeah,
I'm
hit us
excited.
off.
I think, yeah, you want to start it up?
Yeah, go and hit us with the top of the board, my friend.
So we have a wide open board this week because no dragon,
No boogeyman.
no no Scotty Scheffler at the top of the board. So we are starting it off with Rory McIlroy. I'd like to think, by the way, that it was Steven Yeager that actually made him not come here this week, even though that's not what happened. But interesting that, I mean, dude, he's golfing so well. Why golf the week before the Masters? It doesn't make sense for him.
He had his tune
Um,
up. I mean, he's in the best form you could come in. First place, solo second, or T2.
yeah,
Pretty good.
100%. Pretty good. Rory McIlroy though, top of the board, 9-1. Ludwig, Aberg, Luddy, F, Baby, 12-1. Jordan Spieth, past champion here as well, 20-1. We got Hideki Matsuyama, 22-1. Matthew Fitzpatrick, 25-1. Max Homa, 25-1. And these are just a couple of the books that we're looking at here, based off of Odds Checker. So definitely shop around. But we were talking off air, Jack, and I feel like, you're kind of in the same boat that I am, or at least looking at this a little bit similarly, where the top of the board, like, there's great names. This is a great field for what this tournament is, especially historically. Like you said, 9 of the top 20 was it
Yep.
in this field. So that's a great, great field this week. But I'm looking at this, and I do not love the top of the board as far as prices go. And I feel like we say that a lot, but I don't know. What are your thoughts, man, when you're looking at this?
What's kind of funny is it's such a strong field because you understand why all these guys at the top for the most part are here, because they still have things to figure out before the Masters. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what makes the top of the board so compelling this week. Is just kind of hard to have trust in most of these guys right now, right? And starting with Rory, who you can get as big as 10-1. It's just been like a little bit of a mixed bag of everything for Rory. Like, we've seen the irons be good. He even said this today when he was talking in his presser. Some weeks his irons have been good, some week the driver's been good, some weeks the putting's been good, and then all sorts of different weeks, one part of his game lets him down a little bit. I
Mm-hmm.
do think this sets up to be a good Rory course, and he did have a second place finish here back in 2013, but he's only played this tournament once since he last won a major championship in 2014. And, even he seems like he knows he's not exactly where he needs to be right now. And he actually just worked with Butch Harmon, was in Las Vegas a couple of weeks ago to get some thoughts from him and a second set of eyes on his swing and whatnot. I think Rory is probably going to play fine. He's still rattling off top 25s here. It's not like it's been an absolute disaster like a JT the last couple of weeks. But I just don't think I have enough confidence to back Rory at this number. And quite honestly, from what I saw following him in the Pro-Am today, and it is a Pro-Am, it is not the end-all be-all. He is shooting the shit with buddies in shorts, really not taking a whole heck of a lot of time before these shots. I didn't really love what I saw from Rory today, particularly with the driver. So I can't really get there. I understand the reasoning for everyone backing Ludwig. Luddy F Baby opened at 16 or 18-1 and is now 12 across the board. I don't think I can get to him at that
That's
number, even
extremely
though
low.
it's extremely low, even though he does seem like a good course setup. He kind of seems like that everywhere. And, I think his floor is so high, like he's still going to play well, but I just don't think I can get him at that number either. The guy for me at the top easily, Joey, Sadecki, 22-1. Like, I
It's
thought
been
that was
awesome lately.
an excellent number. Dude, you can make he's on the best form of anyone in this entire field, and one of the only guys, like, I feel like can hang with Scotty Scheffler when he's got his best, because since that win at the Genesis, he's over his good T6 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational and was T12 at the Players Champion, or T6 at the Players, T12 at the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And the way he's been doing it has just been really impressive. Like, around the green, he's over the last 24 rounds, he's good. The approach, he's inside the top 10 over the last 24 rounds, 14th in bogey avoidance, which I mentioned I think is really big here, 19th off the tee, 21st in strokes gained long courses. Like, there's a lot of reasons to be feeling confident in Hideki, and he's been putting it a lot better as of late, and historically throughout his career in Texas. He's been good on the greens in Texas. At the Houston Open, the Byron Nelson, the Charles Schwab, and here, since 2014 and 11 starts, he's only lost strokes on the green twice. So he's pretty good in the state of Texas with the greens. I like him. I like him around the greens. The ball striking has been really good. So Hideki to me was kind of the easy bet at the top, if I'm being honest. I thought 22-1 was a more than fair number in a field where I really don't like any of the other numbers surrounding these guys and don't think they're all that fair. So it was Hideki for me at the top. I thought about Jordan Spieth a little bit.
Past
Still
good
don't.
history here.
I just think Becky at, Jordan Spieth definitely has good history here. This is where, he finally broke that skid in Texas, Jordan Spieth in Texas, but it's just like the way he's been going about things, like just chipping in and making long putts, and the irons just have not been consistent or not really even all that good. And I don't know. I'm just way more confident in Hideki at the top than all of these guys. Matthew Fitzpatrick, Max Homa, I know we're getting into another range here, but Homa, Colin Morikawa, I'm more confident with Hideki than all of those guys, Joey. So he was the bet for me at the top, and the only bet I have under 30-1.
You know what? I actually agree with you, which isn't hard to believe. We seem to do this quite a bit, it seems like. But I've been overlooking Hideki for his recent performances. I really have. Like when it comes into each week by itself, as far as betting goes, I haven't been targeting him. But I mean, he's got the win at the Genesis. He's playing really well, man. T12 at the Arnold Palmer, T6 at the Players. Like, all the things that you're mentioning. I really think that he's kind of setting himself up in a good position here to do very well here this week.
Yeah.
So I have not bet it, I'll be honest, but kind of look in that direction. There's somebody else here in this close quarters range that we haven't really mentioned yet, but I do like Hideki this week.
One final thought here on Hideki is I just pulled up his numbers. I mean, they're phenomenal, Joey. He gained 11 strokes ball striking at the Players Championship, has gained 12 strokes to the field in 2 of his last 3 starts, and literally outside of finishing dead last at the Pebble Beach Pro-Am through 3 rounds where he lost 7 strokes, he's gained over 4 strokes to the field in each of his last 6 starts outside of the Pebble Beach disaster. And 3 of those gains have been of over 7 strokes. Like, he's cooking. The ball striking's been good. 4.6 strokes off the tee at the Players. Like,
yeah,
it's Hideki for me for a lot of different reasons.
A lot of different reasons, and I really especially like where the off the tee is right now.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference at this course, I feel like. So I'm with you. Looking here down a little bit, we have 28-1 Colin Morikawa. We have 28-1 your boy Corey Connors, like you have in your tagline here, the house that Corey Connors built. He's excellent here at Valero Texas Open. TPC San Antonio is just his stomping grounds, it feels like. Alex Noren, 30-1. We got Tommy Fleetwood Mac, never Tommy, 30-1. Just have to say that every time. I don't care at this point. Sorry if you're listening, Tommy. Billy Horschel, 35-1, and Benny-Anna, 35-1. So very interesting spot here from 28 to 35.
You should just, I'm sorry. You should just comment on Tommy Fleetwood's Instagram, just like hate from Chicago.
Hate from Chicago. We do not approve. Tommy, we don't approve. Never Tommy. Hashtag hope you get top 10 and never win. I'm sorry. That's mean. That's actually it's okay though. Top 10's not bad. You can make a lot of money that way. Which he has done. So yeah, man, this is a good one. I'm on Corey Connors. I'm on your boy. I'll kick it off there because I'm interested to see if you are. I don't know how you're not. You're at this tournament, and if you're not, the putter could kill him. But at the Players, he recorded a strokes gained putting mark of 2.380 strokes gained putting. So that was his best so far this season. That ranked 25th in the field. I'm looking at the model projections too on some areas. You got third best win probability, but he's like 5th and in some places 6th in the best odds. And looking at this after we just read off from Odds Checker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We read off 7 names with that to Corey Connors. So 8th best odds, like that's a value in my book, even though it's not a great number for what Corey Connors can be, and like because he can be very volatile. He definitely can. But I do like the tee to green. I mean, he's basically top 20 in tee to green, strokes gained approach, and off the tee. I don't think I really need to talk you into him because he is your boy, but I'm trying my hardest to do that.
Dude, and it doesn't take a lot to talk me into Corey Connors either. And just like hearing what you're saying and looking up the profile, I mean, literally the left 3 columns on rickrungood.com, off the tee, approach, ball strike, it's all green. I mean, it's green every week. This guy's gaining off the tee every week, on approach every week, and then he's absolute dog shit around the greens and with the putter. But like you said, he gained almost 2.5 strokes last week at the Players. This is his happy place. Like, and also, I would like to point out that last time I was at covering a PGA Tour event at the Shriners at TPC Summerlin, I didn't bet Tom Kim, who I did bet the year prior and won at that event. I didn't bet Tom Kim, and then he ended up winning when I was there. And if Corey Connors wins while I'm here, you know how sad I'm going to be? You know how sad I'll be along the 18th green? I know, but dude, he's so bad around the greens, like bad. Like he's gained.
Stop thinking about this logically. This is not a logical bet. You can't. Okay, I know I just tried to get very logical, and you were looking at them. I totally understand the perspective you're looking at this from, but this is one of those situations where, Jack, you are at TPC San Antonio. You are there. This is his course. You cannot not bet him. It's impossible to me. I'm sorry. Jump on the bandwagon.
I want the 30, and they're not giving me the 30. I want the 30.
Where are we at, Bet Rivers? Come on. Where's your boost?
Dude, they don't give me boosts anymore. And it even got so annoying that I actually sparked up the chat on Bet Rivers. That's how annoyed I got. I was messaging them with like 15 minutes. And Gabriella, I think her name was, shout out Gabby. I told her, I'm like, I do a podcast and Bet Rivers is our sponsor. Like, I'm plugging you guys all the time. And I know these things still exist because I hear other golf podcast hosts talking about it on Monday morning. They're like, oh, over at so-and-so, they got the enhanced. And I know where they're talking about when they say the enhanced because Bet Rivers is the spot for enhanced.
That's what it was.
They only offer me double chance. So I don't understand it. Gabriella told me, keep checking back. If it changes, that's when it'll happen. Hasn't happened up to this point. So I'm not getting that 30 on Corey Connors. I would love a 30. So I've bet I have room for either one more guy at the top. So it's basically Corey Connors or a couple of other guys further down.
I'm curious why. It is tough. I'm curious why they took that away when, is that an Illinois thing? I'm wondering, I don't know where all these other podcasts are,
true,
where they're stationed out of, but we were consistently getting it and we won some on Bet Rivers. I know we did.
Yeah.
For our outrights. So I'm you win and then you're banned or something. They're taking away your fun now. You can't beat them. Sorry, Bet Rivers. By the way, shout out to the sponsors. Go to betrivers.com. Enter the promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match. That's promo code ONTAP for an up to $250 deposit match by our sponsors. Bet Rivers, who needs to bring back the enhanced odds.
I made it very clear to them. I said, if you guys give me the enhanced odds, this is where all my golf betting goes. It's where 85 to 90% of it, when I had those enhanced, it's where it went. It's where it went. Just stating facts here.
Enough, you've donated a little bit and you've made a little bit, and it's a nice partnership. I mean, that's all right. We'll stop. But yeah, man, I am liking Corey Connors for sure. It's hard not to. Alex Noren, another guy who really drew my attention. So, Jack, I'm going to use some stuff against you right here, too. Some more stuff getting used against you. So, I got him 33-1.
A model popper Alex Noren?
I was looking at your model that you built.
He's number one, and I don't care.
8th in strokes gained total, 4th in greens and reg this season. I get it. It's a terrible number for an Alex Noren, but 33-1 is interesting to me, man. That's another one I have not done. I have really not finalized much of anything to this point, which we're creeping up here on the end of when I can finalize things. But tell me why, if there's a good reason, or if there is a reason why you're not on Noren, or if it's just a price thing.
It's a price, and I don't know. There's just so many of these guys that I feel like are the same. Aaron Rye, Thomas Dietrich, Alex Noren, Tommy Fleetwood.
No. Hold on.
They're all basically the same. None of them have won in the United States.
Hold on.
They're all the same people.
We cannot throw Thomas Dietrich in the same bucket as any of them.
Okay,
he's on his own separate island of terrible meltdowns. I'm sorry.
They're all the same though. They all never win. They all play good and never win. I don't know. I'm just not going to bet Alex Noren at 33-1. I get he's so high in the models. Everything likes him. If he was 40, I would think about it. I'm just not.
That's fair.
There's some out there that's 28-1 on Alex Noren. I'm like, give me a break. But there is another guy that I have bet in this range though that I want to get to real quick before we skim on down because I don't want to leave him out. Bet him a lot. It's just been happening. It's just kind of turned into a thing. Benny On, back on board with Benny On here at a place that he's played pretty well. He's top 10, top 7, 2 of the last 3 years. And really outside of that awful miscut at the Players Championship where he lost I think he lost 8 strokes, and he lost almost 8 strokes in a single round. And, it's a course that just has a shit ton of water. Like, things can go real bad for you on TPC Sawgrass. But other than that, like, he's been really steady and really good from tee to green. He's 25th on the PGA Tour in tee to green this season, 22nd in strokes gained total. And I just think there's a lot of upside for him here. He's he's struck the ball really well here on this course in the past. He's gained over 14 strokes here in 2019 when he finished T7, gained over strokes from tee to green. 6, and this was really where he kind of like burst back onto the scene again. He's just a much better putter now than he's ever been. It's still a little bit hit or miss from time to time, but he's only lost strokes twice over his last 8 outings here in 2024. So I got Benny on at 35-1. And like if Corey Connors was 35-1, he'd be probably over Benny on to me. I just like that number for Benny on at this type of course. So he was the one that I clicked along with Hideki at the top. Still thinking about old Corey Connors. I'll have serious FOMO if I don't. So I'll probably end up.
Yeah, I know, but don't let me talk you into it, even though I want to talk you into it. I'll say this, man. I think that's a great call that you just made on Beniana. This dude, like, everything leading up to the Players before the miscut, like going back to the Genesis Scottish Open. I mean, everything since mid-July of last year has looked pretty damn good. Not everything every week, but for the most part, he's been looking really good and been one of the most consistent golfers, I think, this season. So I like the call. I really do. Especially because I don't see him popping out and winning like the Masters, but I could see this as a really good elevator for him to eventually win some majors, if that makes sense.
He needs to win this week to get into the Masters, I believe. I don't think he's been invited as
Does he?
of now.
Oh, okay.
I want to say he's one of the highest rated guys in the world who is not currently in the Masters. I hope I'm wrong on that. I hope Benny did get his invite, but I feel like I would have seen it. So
no, you're probably right about that.
I also think like, and that's what's weird about this week a little bit too, is there's everyone wants to go and win the golf tournament, but there's a lot of different motivating factors, right? Depending on like what kind of player you are and what situation you're in. Everyone's going out there to play their best. Absolutely. But a guy like Benny On knows he has to win this week to get into the Masters. A guy like Billy Horschel, also in this range, who I've liked a lot and showed a lot of intrigue in, and texted my buddies over the weekend like, yo, might be Billy Horschel week. And then he gets absolutely smashed down to 33-1. That makes it a little bit tougher, but he's got to win to get in the Masters, I believe, as well. So those are just a couple of things to consider. And this has been a spot where, the field has never been as strong as it is this year, but you've kind of gotten some random groups of winners here over the years, like Andrew Landry, JJ Spawn. Then you get Jordan Spieth, Corey Connors. Like, it's a mixed bag. So it's really interesting.
100%. It's definitely a mixed bag, which is why, I mean, I could really see I shouldn't say any sort of golfer win this week. I think kind of like you said, you got to be somewhat either, if you're not going to hit long, you better hit it accurate. It's one of the two. There's no in between, I think. Even though like it's not that penal out on the rough, I still think that this is that type of course where the length is really going to come into play here. And if there is wind at all on that Friday or, one of the other days, it certainly could be challenging for some of these guys. But yeah, I mean, Horschel, that's interesting. You got the Weasel in here, 40-1. You got Harris English, Adam Scott, the model lover, or the models love him, Russell Henley at 45-1. You got Christian Bezatenhout at 50, Tom Kim 50, Mav McNeely 50-1, and we'll kind of shut it down there. I don't have anybody in this range, Jack, but I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I don't have anyone in this range really either. That's super intriguing to me. I'll shout out names here for guys I do like, for people that are watching, and I don't feel super strongly about any of them, but I kind of like Harris English. I don't love him because he doesn't have good course history here, but I think he's been playing really well. There's some really big Masters, the US Open, the PGA Championship, and I know Harris English is a long shot to win all of those things, but the guys that he's in the same range as for those tournaments, Given that, this is a guy that's finished inside the top 10 in a couple of U.S. Opens. Like, he can play the hardest golf courses really well and can beat the best. We've seen it when he won the Century Tournament of Champions. He's also won at TPC River Highlands for the Travelers. There's like 190s out there for Harris English to win the Masters. And there might be over 200 still for him, like at the U.S. Open. So I always try to shout that out because I think that number is just way too big. But I think he's a little bit interesting this week. Bo Hostler, Texas guy, I'm not going to bet him, but I think he could be utilized and could play well. It's a big number for Tom Kim. Yeah, definitely always watching Bo, and you like him in Texas. It kind of feels like his happy place and can drive it a long way until it's like Sunday in contention, kind of like Keith Mitchell. I feel like they're kind of the same players, and they both wear the visor too, interestingly enough.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Kim, big numbers on Tommy Buns, even though it hasn't been a real good start to 2024 for him. Like, in just a terms of an upside number, like 60 to 1's really good. The one who I really like from what is that, 40 to 80, I guess you could kind of
say it.
Akshay.
Yes, let's go.
I like Akshay. I like Mav McNeely a little bit. I prefer it. I think Mav McNeely is a good like top 20 play because of how good he is around the green and how good his short game is. His irons just have not been good whatsoever. They literally were only good at the Phoenix Open. So I'm kind of waiting for that. So I think there's upside with Mav. I like Akshay. I don't know if I think he probably makes too many mistakes to win this golf tournament, but man, there's just no denying his upside. And I think it's a good number. 65 to 1, you can still find out there. He's probably the one from this range for me.
That number is really good. And I thought he looked really good last week, honestly. That was somebody I was on last week. It kind of came out of nowhere because it was a name that I've recently forgotten about. If we're being honest, he's been down on the board, but then I started looking. I'm like, he's a little bit better. This seems like a really good course for him. Same kind of situation this week, 65 to 1. I think that's a great number because I kind of put him in the same tier as like an Alex Noren. I don't know. I know that's weird. Like, Akshay's upside is probably a lot better than Noren, in my opinion. But I really like this price here. I had to do it. I think, and that was one of the guys too that, looking at your model, Jack, one of the guys that popped up there. So, there was 3 names. There's another name here too. And I guess I'll just get into it because it's pretty close. All these guys are kind of grouped together here. Aaron Rye, the Ruben, the Rachel, the Rye Bread. I know you hate him. You don't hate him. You don't hate him.
I don't
should
hate
take
him.
that back. You just think that he's one of those guys like a Thomas Dietrich that's not really going to quite pull it out towards the end. And I totally understand that. But I do think if there's a spot where he can compete, where you need a little bit, if it's not the length, you need a little bit of accuracy. He's somebody who can definitely do that. And I don't know if the weather doesn't really scare me with someone with him, I guess I should say. The other name that's kind of in there in that same bucket, I'm not going to let you guess, but I'm sure you can. The other visor man.
Keith?
Yeah, it's got to be, man. Look at his – I get it. He's very volatile too in his own right, just not pulling it out. But strokes gained approach, the last 24 rounds, still at the top of the board for this course or for this field. You look at ball striking per round over the past 24, he's number 1 in this field. You look at, let's see here. I mean, his driving, of course, we already know that that's just something that he's going to kill pretty much every week. He has the length. So there's a lot of reasons why you shouldn't trust him, but I do think if you're getting that type of price, like, let's see where he's at right now. What did I find him at? 65? No.
Yeah, Bet365.
Yeah, Bet365 is what's that at right now?
75.
75? Okay. So I think that's fine. Like I've been betting him sometimes at like 40 to 1. So yeah, I'm in it. I can't quit it.
That might tell us more about you than it does about Keith Mitchell.
I got a problem. All right. I got a problem.
No, I think 75 to 1's like a decent number. I just don't have Finn Keith like you do. But we all have guys for our own different reasons. So I'm not going to knock you too much. I have a lot of losers that I love to bet money on week in and week out. One of those losers, yeah, I mean, there's tons of them. Benny on, loser that I love spending money on. Adam Scott, loser that I love spending money on.
Adam Scott.
Yeah.
Todd Pod is another one for both of us, it seems like sometimes.
I've kind of
Has
gotten
been.
I've kind of gotten off Todd. I've shed those days. I really liked him when I first started betting golf.
Hmm.
I've learned. I've learned. Is there anyone else you like
Yeah.
before 100 though, or at 100
Before,
or under?
yeah, before 100, not really. I kind of just looked away from the rest of these guys because I don't see it being too long of a long shot this week. I do have one guy in mind, but that's way down the board. So yeah, if you have somebody, go ahead,
I got
shout them
two.
out.
Yeah, one at 90, one at 100. Or actually, one's at 80, one's at 100. Excuse me. He is now at 90. I got him at 80. I'm in Texas. Can't bet here. I already made the wager. Can't cash out. It is what it is. Still good money. I still like the line. It's my boy. It's the glove. The
Oh
glove,
yeah.
baby. He's been playing better here as of late. And the biggest thing is it's the putter, man. And I've been following him all throughout the start of the season to kind of see what he's been up to and how that broomstick style putter fares for him here after that, blazing run that he went on last year where I cashed him at the FedEx St. Jude, of course. And it was bad. It was bad for Glover right off the rip. Absolutely lost on the greens again. But he's kind of turned things around here these last couple of weeks. And I actually heard that he tinkered with the head of the putter instead of going with like the brick mallet that he was kind of using, almost similar to like what Brian Harmon's ugly little putter looks like. Apparently he changed it and it just makes it easier for him to line up the ball and much better results at the Valspar Championship. He had gained almost 3.5 strokes on the greens through 2 rounds before he gave some of that back on the weekend. And I know that's a small sample size, but when you look at what the ball striking has still been throughout 2024, like Glover's still been making cuts because the approach has been really good. He's still been really steady off the tee. Like from tee to green, he can hang, and he's one of the best in the field around the greens over the last 24 rounds. He led the Valspar in strokes gained around the green there. And he's also been fantastic on this course, even when he was going through those major struggles. He had a T14 in 2019, a solo fourth in 2021, and I actually bet him that week in 2021, and then had a T18 in 2022. And also, that's when he put like shit. He gained strokes on the greens here in all 3 of those finishes.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I just think there might be something about these greens that Lucas Glover could like. And I just think with the ball striking and better putting as of late, there's upside for him at 80-1 or 90-1, what it is now. So I love that number. He was the first bet that I made this week. The second one that I made was Austin Eckroat at 100-1. And I completely understand that 2 wins in like a month span is probably a little bit to ask for Austin Eckroat, but the ball striking has still been just as good as it was when he won at PGA National. The biggest thing is just the putter. The putter has betrayed him these last couple of weeks at the API and at the Players, but the ball striking was so good. He still made the cut at both of those events, 2 of the most prestigious events on the PGA Tour. And he's also never lost strokes on the green in Texas as a full-time PGA Tour member. He gained 0.98 strokes at the Charles Schwab Challenge last year, 7.34 strokes on the green, and at the time it was his closest call to his first victory when he had a second-place finish at the 2023 CJ Byron Nelson. Gained 1.63 strokes on the greens here last year and 2.61 on the greens at the Houston Open in 2022. An Oklahoma native, maybe he likes these greens as well, kind of what Lucas Glover has been up to, and the ball striking's been really good. He's 8th in total driving, 8th in strokes gained approach over the last 24 rounds, 23rd in strokes gained around the green. Doesn't make a ton of bogeys. Like, I just think there's upside there for him too at 100-1. And like I said, I know 2 wins in a month is a lot for Austin Eckroat, but this was a guy who was super talented coming out of college that had the attention of a lot of people and finally broke through not all that long ago. I think he's just as likely as anyone down here at this board, down over 100-1 to get the win this week.
Your confidence in him certainly tells me something. Just looking at it, because that's not a name I was on really my radar at all. But I do see some very smart people in the industry looking his direction this week. So
Oddly
yeah.
enough, sorry to cut you off. I'll just say this real quick. It gave me the same vibes that I had about Steven Yeager last week. Like, hadn't been putting well, didn't putt well or play all that great in Florida, but had really good putting upside in Texas, the Houston Open in particular. That's where he had his best strokes gained putting performance as a full-time pro. Steven Yeager was at Memorial Park the year prior. He beat that in his win last week. So I just kind of get the same vibes from Eckroat a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. I also think that like you said about Lucas Glover, his putter for him not looking dog shit lately.
Always
That's
good.
a real positive. Yeah, because he was on fire for a while towards the end of last year. He he was awesome. So if he
He
can
almost
find
made the
that kind of
Ryder Cup team. Probably wasn't like
dude,
realistically all that close, but like people were saying Lucas Glover should be on the team.
he was on our talks. We doing this show, we would talk about him weekly or the 2 weeks leading up to that announcement. I believe like he was definitely on our radar. Maybe he wasn't our pick. I can't remember honestly,
He
but
wasn't. He
yeah,
wasn't, but like still, the fact that he got in that conversation shows like how good he was at the end of last year.
100%. Yeah, he absolutely was. Jack, anybody leading up to my next one comes like 120 range. So you got anybody before that?
I got just 3 names from these 100s that I'll shout out. I haven't bet any of these guys. Andrew Novak, 120 to 1, I think is interesting. I do worry about the driver here because he can get wayward. I don't know if he'll actually win, but top 10 here last year, which is kind of his little type of breakout that he had. I think Ryan Moore, 150 to 1, is kind of a little interesting. Was played really well at the Valspar and probably honestly should have won that thing. And then I think 250 to 1 is a good number on Carl Yuan. Like, I literally said this to a buddy the other day, and I'm not comparing them whatsoever. But the way that Carl Yuan goes about things a little bit, at least in the last couple of weeks, he's kind of like a homeless man's Jordan Spieth. Like he's chipping in from everywhere. The driver is just random, but he has the
He takes
ability to
shots
hit the
too. He
ball a
takes
long way.
shots.
Yeah, he's an aggressive player. He's not scared out there. The putter can get hot. The putter can get cold. Like he's kind of a homeless man's Jordan Spieth. So I think 250 to 1's a good number on Carl. I don't know if I'll actually get there, but those were really the only guys after Austin Eckroat for me that I had any interest in.
It's actually kind of a hilarious comp right there. Homeless man's Jordan Spieth.
Because
All
they're not
right.
even close in caliber, but like
No, but
you can't
that's
call him
funny
a
though. I
poor
can
you can't call him a poor man's Jordan Spieth. He's not just a poor man's Jordan Spieth. He's
no,
a
he's
bum's
looking for
Jordan
soup.
Spieth.
He's looking for
Yeah.
soup and quarters and dollars at the stoplight. Sorry for him, but that's actually really messed up because dude is banking so much money compared to us. So sorry, Carl. With that said, though, I like 120 range right here. Past winner, he's missed 3 straight cuts, so I'm not like super confident in it. I just think it's really interesting because he does really well here. He absolutely like loves this course and this place. He has a win here, couple of T2s. He's putting has been awful lately, so that's a big reason why. But Charlie Hoffman, 120 to 1, and I get the whole putting aspect that he's coming into, but and the missed cuts. But he seems to be randomly popping up here and there, and generally puts well at Valero. So that's something because I think the rest of his numbers don't look completely awful leading up to this tournament. I think he can do some damage and just randomly like I really like him as like a top 20 bet because I think you're still going to get a really good number out of him. But like, why not? I'm going to throw a $5-10 bill on Charlie Hoffman, and that'll be my long shot. I really don't have many long shots this week, Jack. So that's what I'm going with.
The Seagull, baby. This has been a lot of different people's Open. This has been the Charlie Hoffman Open. This has been the Matt Kuchar Open. It is now the Corey Connors Open. It's been a lot of different people's Opens. But don't forget about the Seagull. I don't hate it.
Yeah,
I don't hate it. His game has been all over the place. Like outside of
100%.
Phoenix, it has been dicey, brother. But like, take a shot, shoot a
Bro,
shoot.
those last 3 weeks scare the absolute piss out of me. But I'm not that scared. I'm not investing that much.
I gotta pull up the numbers now.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not solely the putting. I shouldn't say that and like isolate it as it's just the putting. There's more in there, but like I think for the most part, yeah,
The putting
yeah,
is so bad.
it's bad though. It's bad.
Dude, and what's
Um,
also discouraging is it's not lining up to be a good ball striking week for him because he gained 9 strokes ball striking at Phoenix and then lost a ton the next week at Genesis, but then gained a lot in Mexico and then lost a lot at the Players and then gained a lot last time out at the Valspar
and then lost.
and then lost a lot.
So he's on that every other teeter right now. That's what he's doing.
Dude, his short game is so bad.
It's
right now.
awful. I don't even want to talk about the around the green too. When you're like talking about that, could be a little bit more important than I originally thought. Don't want to even hear that right now.
It hasn't been as bad as the putter.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, man, I got nothing else though. I mean, I don't know if you got the prop bets, if you got more down the board names you want to shout out. I'm pretty much set in stone. Oh wait, one other guy, Alejandro Tosti. First of all, what a freaking name! Just love the name itself and the emotion that he brings out there. But what is it? I'm looking at let's see here, action. So not even an odds checker, but 150-1. Is he still in this week? Toasty?
I apologize. My connection is getting bad. You said Alejandro Tosti?
Yeah, is he still in?
He's in the field this week. He was someone I wouldn't hate. I don't know if he'll be able to follow that up. I feel like a lot of people are just going to be betting that because what they saw last week, and it was awesome. I mean,
it was fun. It was fun.
Toasty's an electric factory, and I'm here for it. I'm sure I'll be betting him a lot in the future. I don't know if it's this week. There's a 250-1 on Sam Stevens, who's popped up in Texas before. That's it. But I don't have any like props. Just trying to go back to back here before the Masters, baby. And who knows if I win some good money, maybe I stay in San Antonio another day, or maybe I
enjoy yourself.
Maybe I fly to Augusta and just start asking for tickets. No, I don't know. Don't put that by me. I'd have to win a big long shot, but I can't imagine those are cheap. I can't imagine those are cheap. And I can't imagine finding a place to stay in Augusta 5 days before the tournament's very cheap either.
You're not going to be very close by. That's probably what's going to happen. Well, it's not going to be cheap. Would be awesome though. I mean, just getting to walk around, dude. You're going to have a blast this weekend. Like starting tomorrow, you're going to have an absolute blast. I am a little bit jealous here, but I am looking forward to following along with all the content, and talking to you all throughout this tournament. Definitely, everybody listening, watching, go to On Tap Golf on X and follow along. Go to Jack's X as well, or Twitter, at Jack Bushman 2. A lot of great articles coming out there. Ross, I'm sure he'll be pumping out some stuff. Tony, a lot of great work that's being done right now on the golf end of things. And of course, I'm a little biased because I'm a part of this show. So, I do think that you guys are doing a hell of a job, though, especially on the writing side. So, can't wait to see all the content that you guys get out there. And wouldn't it be awesome, man, if we can get an outright while you're there? And Corey Connors seems to be that guy again. That's what I'm going to roll with.
I know. I completely missed this comment from Mr. Marchese earlier when you were sick.
I didn't see that either.
Easy to catch something when you hang out with Ron and Kyle. That's pretty good. And basically what we were alluding to, same thing, Ross. Dropping a Masters winning caddy the week before the Masters is most certainly a bold move by Mr. Justin Thomas. But yeah, dude, I'm so stoked and so grateful to be here, man. The experiences, like, there's just so many different pinch me type of things. Like, I was texting Tony today, like, looking Rory McIlroy in the eye when he's answering your question is just like, still cool. Like, it's really freaking awesome. I'm really blessed, really fortunate. It's an excellent course, man. Excellent play this week. The prelude. Like Joey said, hopefully I didn't die out of here.
Kind of break it up a little bit.
Follow me to guys. The internet's getting bad. Can you hear me?
Barely. You were really cutting out. I didn't know if that was my side or your side though. So, but hey, look, I think we ran through just about everything that we needed to. So, with that said, Jack's going to have an awesome time out there. If you are hopping back in here, Jack, let you have your final thoughts before the tournament. But we need to roll out of here because we're hitting the hour mark. Everybody, hopefully you guys cash all your tickets. Jack, what do you say? You there? Doesn't look like it. Crack them, lock them. Jack, be safe. Everyone else, be safe. And let's cash some tickets. Let's get an outright, baby. Let's go.